Welcome to the programme. Polls for the controversial presidential rerun in Kenya are now open. Opposition leader Raila Odinga has withdrawn from the election and has asked supporters to boycott the vote. It comes as protesters have been throwing stones at police in Nairobi's Kibera district. The Supreme Court had annulled the elections held in August due to irregularities. Well, how did we get there? On August the 11th, Uhuru Kenyatta was declared the winner of the initial presidential election held 3 days earlier. But his rival, Raila Odinga, was quick to cry foul, saying that the result was hacked and manipulated. He took these allegations to the Supreme Court, and on the 1st of September, the judges declared the elections invalid and ordered a rerun within 60 days. More than a month later, Odinga suddenly withdrew his candidacy from the rerun, saying he still didn't believe the Election Commission could ensure a fair race. Well, let's cross over to our reporters in Kenya. Famida Miller is in the capital, Nairobi, and Catherine Soy is in the opposition stronghold of Kisumu. Let's go to Famida first. You're actually within a polling station. Just tell us what's been going on, considering the tension has been rising in the capital.
Sohail, there was a fairly steady stream of voters coming into this polling station in the center of Nairobi, but just 2 hours into the polling day, it's now slowed to a trickle. It has been raining, so that of course would impact the number of people coming out, but essentially it's this boycott that the opposition has called, as well as security concerns. Now, we did speak to the President Thabo Mbeki, who's leading the African Union Observer Mission in Kenya. He said about half an hour ago that it's too early really to judge how the election has gone. We had asked him if there was concern around this boycott and how it would impact credibility. He wouldn't really answer on that issue, but of course this is an issue for many observer missions, some of them even withdrawing. Now, at this polling station, we do know that in August, with the initial presidential election, there were lines around the block leading into the main streets in Nairobi. This time round, it looks as if a number of voters are staying away.
Indeed, and Famida, we can show our viewers now live pictures of disturbances happening across Nairobi in the Kibera camp. Just for our viewers, explain to us why Kibera would be a centre point or a flash point for disturbances.
Sohail, Kibera is a stronghold of the opposition, the National Super Alliance, but specifically the Orange Democratic Party that forms part of that alliance. We were in Kibera earlier in the week speaking to people there, and many had told us that they would prevent the election from taking place. They would prevent people from voting in areas of Kibera. We do know that there are some areas today there that are very tense. At least 2 polling stations haven't opened at all. 5 others have. There is some voting taking place, but ultimately the concern there is security and people being prevented from going to the polling stations. One area of concern, of course, and what we've seen in Kenya for a number of years, is an issue of tribalism and people forming alliances along these lines. Now, given that Kibera is made up primarily by Luo people, they would then want to support the opposition alliance, and this is partly why we're seeing some of the polls of some elections taking place in some of the areas in Kibera.
Well, for the moment, we'll leave it there with you, Famida, and cross over to your colleague and ours, Catherine Soy, who's in the stronghold of Kisumu. Sporadic, small flashpoints in the capital there, Catherine. The scene is very different where you are, though it is still an opposition stronghold.
Absolutely, and let me just start by saying we've also had some incidents in some areas here in Kisumu. Protesters in some parts, we've been told, are already out on the street saying that they're not going to come out and vote. And just coming back to where I am, let me just paint a picture for you, Sohail. in August during the last election, these grounds were full of people, queues and voters. But today we've seen nobody. Polling materials have just arrived here, but we've spoken to the returning officer. That's the chief electoral commission official here in Kisumu Central, it's called, and he said he's not been able to distribute voting materials to any of the 199 polling stations in his area of operation. He says another challenge he's facing is that his staff members are not coming to work. They're supposed to be about 399 electoral official clerks and presiding officers and things like that who are supposed to be working, but he has only seen 4 reporting to work. So he says that's a problem, and it has been a struggle really, Sohail, for us to just get a polling station that is open. We've been to about 4 polling stations. They've been closed. When we arrived at this polling station, there was a bit of panic because those who were transporting the materials had gone missing. They weren't answering their calls, but finally the materials came here. But like I said, no one is voting. Many of the roads have been blocked as well.
Well, for the moment, we'll leave it there, of course. It is a very long day in that election process. We'll continue coverage live from Kenya throughout our bulletins. For the moment, Catherine and Famida, thank you.